Tab that you bust in and fight, tag the lights at the lights. Every night you fight, keep it sight, vivid sight, baby Joe and the escapade. Fancy arcade, pixelated party lesson, they unafraid. Karaoke screams, singing themes, heart and sleeves. Anime dreams, bursting seams, city gleams, dancing screams, endless streams, less extreme, Saturday gleams. So it's day gleams, so it seems nothing reams. Raise the channel, riot loud, crowd unbowed, techno sound, pulses pound, dream astound, youth unbound, joy profound, lost and found. Channel raver on the prowl, echoes howled.
Good morning and welcome back. It's Saturday. It's sunny. It's bright. It's cold. It's the 10th day of January 2026, and so far it has been a pretty scary week, which means it's a perfect chance to curl up in front of the television in our favorite set of PJs, get a big bowl of our favorite kids cereal, watch some cartoons, and shout out some YouTube channels that, you know, are doing the D&D thing, doing the tabletop role-playing game thing, doing the quote-unquote dungeon tubing thing, which I think it's now important more than ever for me to do these every Saturdays. Our good friend Jeff of Jeff Games Box, please take a moment to go over to his site and subscribe, link in the description, who provides us with all these links. Made a very interesting observation, borderline conspiracy theory, but actually when you think about it, it's a pretty telling observation, and we're going to talk about that a little later today. But right now, it's time to shout out some tabletop role-playing game YouTube channels in the post-dungeon tubing is dead apocalypse, because now more than ever, these teeny little channels need a little love, need a little hand up, need a little hello. So let's go. Thank you all for taking time from your Saturday to hang out with me. I know you could be doing something more exciting, like, I don't know, mowing the lawn. Anyways, this is I Roll Alone, bum bum, great song, blah 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 blah. Hello, adventurer. I roll alone. I have 2.26k subscribers. I've made 14 videos. You must be doing something right. But I am. What does this say? Welcome. I roll alone. My name is Daniel, and I enjoy playing solo RPGs as a creative exercise for emergent storytelling. And let's be honest, to have an excuse to try cool-looking games. On this channel, I will share my experience, thoughts, and occasional RPG reviews from POI, point of interest of a solo player. If you want to join me on Substack for a semi-regular newsletter with topics you don't deserve to be put in the video. Topics I don't deserve to be put in the video. Regarding reviews, I've had a few people ask me if I review their game. As of now, I won't take any requests, as I want to play these games for a minimum of 30 days to be able to tell you what it's like I don't like. As the list of my games is quite long and my taste becoming more, let's say, peculiar, I won't do any reviews. If this ever changes, this segment shall be removed. All right, so don't bother him with reviews requests, because he just wants to play his games. He's in Germany, and he's been doing this since 2025, and already up to almost 3K subscribers. Dude must be doing something right. Bam! Oh, are we doing this thing again? We doing the I'm not really logged on thing again? Okay. I don't know why we do this, but all right, okay, we'll do this again. Switch account. I don't know why it does this. I just don't know. Anyways, you know what? Don't worry about it. I don't feel like messing with it, but what are we doing? All right, so I'm on my wrong account. So I have to add an account. I have to put in the email for the other account. And it's probably going to ask me to do this more than once. And, you know, one of our friends suggested last year when I was talking about this, well, you know, you must have done something, so blah, 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 just remove the thing. Well, I'll have you know that since that time, I have completely restarted from scratch the computer. So everything was removed, reinstalled, and it still does this. It still does this, and I don't know why. I don't know why. So if anybody out there is more intelligent about comptometers than I am, please let me know. Anyways, I roll alone. has just completely now vanished from YouTube. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. All right. There he is. All right. Subscribe. Bam. All right. And he started talking about Daggerheart. Can you play Daggerheart solo? You can, I mean, you know, with enough tinkering, you can play any game solo. It's just whether the game works as solo or not. Some games are intrinsically solo designed, and then you have to pound them with the hammer to make them work with for more players than just yourself. Other games are designed to be played, you know, you can play this with a lot of people, you can play it solo. We thought of that ahead of time. And other systems, like the system just doesn't work solo. You need at least 2 people. So Daggerheart being such a collaborative, theatrical, interactive role-playing game that's so reliant on, you know, that DM cinematic critical role style. I don't know if you can. Daggerheart doesn't feel like a game that could be pounded into solo play. It is so designed for that group aesthetic, that cinematic let's play aesthetic. But I mean, you know, if you brush away all the bits and bobs, it's just, and you know, you ignore the gimmicks, it's a, you know, it's a system. And with enough pounding on it with the hammer, you could probably make it work solo. I don't know if it emotionally it would work solo, like every game, you know. Some games, sure, you know, I could, you know, solo video game Diablo style. Other, yeah, no, this game just, I don't know. Each to their own. This guy seems to think he can make it work solo, and he seems to know what he's talking about because he's got 2.26K subscribers and only 14 videos, and this cool little icon of the guy getting stabbed in the back with his own sword. Nobody else sees that? Am I the only one? Yeah, look, he's getting stabbed in the back with his own sword. I Roll Alone. Is that a shout out to Green Day? I don't know. But you deserve a subscribe. Bam! All right. Continuing on with today's disaster. What else will go wrong? I've been having a lot of trouble with the computer lately. It's hard to believe I just bought this. I are sad. Next up, we have the Embassy of Time. Embassy of Time has 26 subscribers, 114 videos, and they say the official YouTube channel for embassyofTime.com. They've been doing this since 2015. What is embassyoftime.com? I don't know. Does the link work? No, it doesn't. Or maybe it works for another computer, but not mine. I am the worst role model for buying computers, dudes. It doesn't matter how good the computer is. The minute I get my hands on it, embassyoftime.com goes to not found. So don't know what it is. Anyways, I'm assuming it's a game, possibly a video game, maybe a role-playing game. This is the person who did it. He's been doing it since 2015. The last video he made was a month ago. Want to subscribe to this channel? Yes. Why are you doing this again? And you're doing it to my wrong channel. Really? We just did this. We just did this. All right, subscribe. Bam. There you go. Let's see. Last video, a month ago, talking about the death of dungeon tubing. D&D on YouTube is dying. Good. No, that's not good. That's bad. No. That's literally the reason why I do this every week, is because these little channels need the shout out, especially after the big channels, you know, Bob and everybody else, and Jeannie, and even Stephen Glicker, Professor DM, all about how dungeon tubing is dying. Don't bother starting to make a channel doing this, guys, because as a profession, as a hobby, dungeon tubing is dying. And again, we're going to talk about that a little later today on a separate video, because as I said, Jeff's Gamesbox, our very good friend, mentioned it to me in a conversation. And while it does sound a little conspiracy, it also, there is a kernel of truth to the idea that these big tubers are telling little tubers not to bother because they see little tubers as potential alternatives, potential rivals. I mean, our good friend Diversity and Dragons is up to almost 8K subs. He could soon be considered large enough that bigger tubers might look at him and go, "Hey, wait a minute." So dungeon tubing is dying on the tube of you? No, it's not. No, it's not. Now, Embassy of Time, I would love to know more about your game. The last time you talked about your game was 2 years ago. And we got the picture of this guy, and it says, no, just very little, very little. And it looks like this guy has wearing a fake nose. Remember, fake nose, Humpty Hump. Okay, so we'll give him a shout out because he's got 27 subscribers, 114 videos. He's doing this for a long time. We hope whatever Embassy of Time is will be successful for him, be it a role-playing game, video game, board game. Don't know. But in regards to dungeon tubing on YouTube being dead, continuously disagree. Flint Fireforge says, "I'm a little YouTuber, and I'm like a termite here eat away at the wood of the big YouTubers. I just want a splinter. Have I given you a shout out, Flint Fireforge, yet? Because I'm not. You're about to get one." Yeah, so shout out to our good Flint Fireforge at Flint Fireforge. Check out his channel. If I haven't given him a shout out yet, he deserves one. He's been on here before and had some good things to say. You all deserve a shout out. Mike here, I've already shout out. He was one of the very first. I did. Well, Flint, you're getting one. Shout out to Flint Fireforge. Check out his channel. He seems like an awesome dude taking time out of his Saturday morning to talk to us about this silly little game. And Mike's one of my players in my every other week Shoutout game. He's one of my play testers for Vigilantes for Shoutout 2.0 or whatever it's going to end up being made called. So please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Mike and his wife's channel, Married with Dice, Married with Gaming. Yes, little YouTubers, we want to be the lampreys on the side of the big YouTuber sharks and just, we can all live together and work together. Professor DM could help me make my channel bigger, and I, in return, could help Professor DM maybe reach an audience he's not aware of. And, I don't know. That's the way it should be, right? If I had 10K, a million K subs, I would still be doing this every Saturday, guys. So whether I never get another sub or I experience a sudden rush and it goes to my head and I'm like, yeah, I'm a big no. It'll never happen. I assure you, each and every one of you deserves the 10 seconds, 15 seconds of fame that I try and give you guys every Saturday. So don't let anybody tell you that it's dead and don't bother doing it, because it's not dead. It's just evolving. Moving on. We have Dr. Urius Papers 2020. So this guy is a real doctor. He has got 14.1K subs, so he doesn't really need my help. But as I just said, with 14.1K subs, maybe he can help me, get a little bigger and reach more people. And I, in return, can help point him out and maybe, open him up to people who aren't aware of him. So it's a mutually exclusive. We help each other out. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Urius Papers, a real doctor because I guess at that quite a bit. This is a channel about tabletop role-playing games, particularly Dungeons and Dragons, D&D. However, I also talk about Pathfinder and Shadowdark role-playing games quite a bit. What do we talk about? Builds, reviews of spells, tips for new, tips for existing, news about D&D, reviews about D&D, and of course D&D controversies. Hey, D&D controversies. That's something we love talking about. And we're going to have to do the sign-in thing again because I don't know why.
Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urius Papers here, coming at you with another comment.
Subscribe. And the doc has been doing this since 2021. So you would think him being a doctor, he'd do the same thing like Real Doctor Reviews Home Alone. Real Doctor Reviews D&D. And, would you survive X? I don't know if he's ever done that. If he hasn't done that, there's a suggestion. You do the same thing. Real Doctor reviews Dungeons and Dragons traps. Real Doctor reviews Fireball. Real Doctor reviews Rust Monster from the point of view of medical, right? Because we've seen those videos where like Real Doctor reviews Home Alone or whatever. So yeah, I think you should do that. So if you're listening to the sound of my voice, Doc, you should do Real Doctor reviews D&D damage, D&D spells. Like, how much damage would you do to yourself and the environment if you really could fly at the speeds of comic book / D&D flight, right? And you're not something that's designed to fly that fast, like a bird. You ever notice that when flying characters fly through, they never damage the buildings, right? Like Sonic Boom, buildings are fine. Flash running, buildings are fine, unless it's important to the story. Anyways, thanks, Doc, for being awesome and reviewing D&D. And, how many times do you get asked medical advice? That would be another one I would love to ask him. So I can think of, I would love, yeah. Dude, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, give us a shout out, because I'd love to talk to you about how often you get asked medical advice while you're trying to tube, and what you would think about, how much damage would having a anvil dropped on your head actually do. Suspension of disbelief, OGGM. Suspension of disbelief. Oh, yeah. Index card RPG. Yeah. We love Hank. Hank's in my my Mount Olympus, my Mount Rushmore, right? Hank is one of my biggest tubing idols. Like, he's one of the people I want to grow up and be like, him. And yeah, so if you saw my end of the year, who are my 100th episode shout outs, my Mount Rushmore, Hank was like number one. So yeah, index card RPG. Yeah, I have it on my shelf. Which edition of D&D? All of them. And finally, we have D&D with Uncle Rusty. He's not my uncle, but he might be one of your uncles. I don't know. Uncle Rusty has got 829 subscribers, 355 videos. He says, welcome to my channel with everything Dungeons and Dragons. Welcome to all the past, present, and future Dungeons and Dragons players and dungeon masters. You will find everything here regarding Dungeons and Dragons, including in-depth analysis of D&D mechanics, classes, races, spells, dice, dungeon mastering, and more. So grab a seat in the tower and welcome yourself to the magical world of Dungeons and Dragons. Uncle Rusty, what's your favorite D&D monster? Is it the Flumph? Is it my personal favorite, the gelatinous cube? Why did you choose Uncle Rusty as your D&D name? Anyways, Uncle Rusty has been doing this since 2024. He claims he's in South Africa. Wow. Well, you got 830 subs now from me. Last time he posted was a day ago, where he was talking about the elemental weapon spell, and he spent 1:45 talking about the elemental weapon spell. You could have made this a short, Uncle Rusty. No, he did. Okay, good for you. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think a spell like elemental weapon needs a lot of extensive conversation, right? I have this spell, I cast it, my weapon now does damage in that element. Fire. There are other elements, yeah, but who's ever going to pick the other elements, right? It's fire, maybe lightning. Occasionally somebody might go cold, but let's face it. 99%. If you could add any damage to your weapon, it's going to be fire, right? Just because, yeah, fire looks cool. We love fire. We love burning things. It's just D&D, right? If we can set it on fire in D&D, we will set it on fire in D&D. And even if we can't set it on fire, we're sure as hell going to spend at least 10 minutes trying to set it on fire. Because we love burning things. Fireball the room. I started playing in D&D in 1974. I think I started in 75, 76. At least that's when Santa brought me my first book. But if you've all heard my how I started playing story, you know that my tabletop role-playing game origin story is a little backwards than most. So Yeah. All right, D&D Uncle Rusty, thanks for being awesome. Thanks for sharing your creativity. Thanks for telling us what gaming like is in South Africa, if you're still out there in South Africa. That's, a question I always like to ask whenever I get a chance to talk to somebody from another country, even from another state, because I'm only aware of how D&D evolved here in Fresno, Nevada, which of course is California. And places that I visited in and along the Pacific coast. So I don't know how D&D evolved in Indiana. I don't know how D&D evolved in Saskatchewan. I definitely don't know how role playing would evolve in South Africa. I would be very curious to know when they first became aware of the game, how the game evolved, how it's different. I remember when I had Dungeon Minister on, I was asking him about the evolution of the hobby in Canada. So yeah, I would love to talk to D&D with Uncle Rusty at some point in time and ask him those questions. Like, okay, how does the hobby evolve over there as opposed to how it evolved here? Indiana, Vorpalbite, completely different state. We assume the game is different there than it was for my experience growing up in the 70s and 80s and 90s playing role-playing along the Pacific Roll Coast. Because whenever I talk about my experience with most other people, they're like, yeah, that's not how we played. Your way sounds weird. And I'm like, Southern California. What can you say? We're weird here at Fresno, Nevada. We do things differently here in this place that doesn't in fact exist. Because I'm just a voice in the wilderness. I could be an AI. You don't know. You don't know. If I am an AI, I'm a really dumb AI. Have a great Saturday, all you guys. I'm going to write down these chases that I haven't done yet. Flint Fireforge, I haven't given you a shout out yet. I will. And Vorpalbite, if I haven't given you one yet. I'm writing it down. You will get one next week. All right. Thank you, each and every one of you, for taking time out of your Saturday morning to hang out with me as we talk about this ridiculous hobby that is role-playing. If you have a channel you want me to shout out that I haven't had a chance yet, or a topic you want me to talk about in 2026, please let me know, and I'll shout you out. And if you appreciate the words that come out of my mouth every day, and you're in a kind of generous mood, this is the point of the time in the video where I have to shill, because this is technically my job. So take a chance to check out my product. It is on sale still on drive-thru. Pay what you want, $4 is what we're asking. Or send me a tip through the Ko-Fi. And of course, always, if you can't do any of that, then all we do ask is that you have a great day, spread a little kindness, and in the immortal words of myself, get off my land.
Electric beats, bustle streets, endless streets, midnight beats, living heat, hearts beat, bleed, polyphonic meets, cyber thieves, rhythm sweet, Saturday schemes, beat retreats, makes us complete. Blazing trails, no fails, neon veils, waves of gales, color tales, joy sails, endless rails, like the veil, Saturday sail, we hail breaking jails. Break the tail, riot loud, crowd unbound, techno sound, pulses pound, dream astound, youth unbound, joy profound.